The only 3 exercises you need to grow your trapezius in just 28 days. The trapezius is one of the most neglected muscles by men in the gym. Have you ever thought about that? Many guys simply ignore this crucial muscle. Others think that doing some exercises for the back and shoulders are already activating it enough. And this happens from beginners who barely know how to hold a dumbbell, to those guys with years of experience who think they already know everything. Others, when they decide to train it, believe that doing just the classic shoulder shrug is enough. What they don't know is that the trapezius is divided into 3 distinct parts: upper, middle, and lower trapezius. Each of these parts has specific functions and, consequently, needs different stimuli to develop properly. And the shoulder shrug works only the upper part. The result? Obviously an unbalanced and incomplete development. Beyond the aesthetic aspect, a strong trapezius is absolutely essential for good posture, to stabilize the neck during any movement, and to increase the overall strength of your back and shoulders. Ignoring this muscle is opening the door to chronic pain and muscular imbalances. That's why in this video you'll see the only 3 exercises you need to develop giant and strong trapezius muscles in just 28 days. There will be 1 exercise for each part, ensuring a harmonious and complete development. We'll show exactly how to do each of them, how many sets and repetitions you should perform, and what common mistakes you need to avoid at all costs. But before we begin, please leave in the comments your name and the city from where you're watching our content. Exercise number 3, dumbbell shrugs. Dumbbell shrugs are probably the most traditional exercise for the trapezius, and for good reason. It perfectly isolates the upper portion of this muscle, which is responsible for that elevation of the shoulders toward the ears. When well executed, this movement creates a powerful contraction that stimulates muscle growth exactly where you want it, in that region that gives that appearance of power between the neck and shoulders. This may seem like the most basic exercise of all, but it's precisely because it seems so simple that many people make crucial mistakes that compromise all results. Therefore, to execute correctly, start standing with an erect posture, holding a dumbbell in each hand at your sides. The arms should be completely extended, and the dumbbells should lightly touch the sides of your thighs. Now, here comes the crucial part. Keep your arms fully extended throughout the movement. I'm not talking about locking the joints, but simply not bending the elbows as you lift the weights. The movement consists of raising your shoulders toward your ears, as if you were shrugging, but in a controlled and deliberate manner. And here's an extra tip. When you reach the maximum point of elevation, pause for a full second. This forced pause at the top of the movement dramatically increases the tension in the upper trapezius and intensifies the stimulus for growth. One of the most common errors is the tendency to bend the arms during the movement. Remember, the weights should rise because your trapezius is pulling your shoulders up, not because your arms are doing the work. If you're bending your elbows, you're transforming the exercise into a bicep movement, and your trapezius won't receive the proper stimulus. Another frequent error is using momentum to lift the weights. Swinging your body or using that little trick to lift heavier dumbbells won't develop your trapezius. It will only increase the risk of injury. Use a weight that allows for controlled execution and focus on muscle contraction, not just on moving the weight. Breathing is also fundamental. Take a deep breath before starting the movement and exhale during the effort. That is, while raising your shoulders. As for the load, start with a weight that allows you to complete between 10 and 12 repetitions with good form. It's better to use a lighter weight and execute the movement correctly than to sacrifice technique for vanity. Another great advantage of this exercise is that it can be done at any age, from teenagers to the elderly, making it truly universal for trapezius development. To maximize results, perform 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions with a rest interval of 60 to 90 seconds between them. If in the last repetitions you're not feeling that intense burning in the trapezius, it's a sign that the weight is too light. On the other hand, if you can't maintain perfect technique in the first repetitions, the weight is excessive. Before we continue to the second exercise, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to correct information based on science is what will make you progress in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Exercise number 2, easy bar upright row. This is a movement that many believe is exclusively for the deltoids, but when executed correctly, it is a powerful tool for the development of the middle trapezius and even the upper part. The easy bar upright row is a compound exercise that, besides the trapezius, activates the lateral deltoids and part of the biceps. However, with some specific adjustments, we can direct most of the tension to the middle trapezius, transforming it into one of the most efficient exercises for this often neglected portion. To execute it correctly, start standing, holding an easy bar, with a grip slightly narrower than shoulder width. The hands should be in pronation, that is, with the palms facing the body. Keep the bar against the front of your thighs, with the arms extended but not locked. Now here's the secret to transform this exercise into a powerful activator of the trapezius. When initiating the pulling movement, focus on leading with the elbows, not with the hands. The elbows should move away from the body laterally and upward, as if you were trying to point your elbows toward the ceiling. And here is the heart of the exercise that makes all the difference. Your elbows need to rise above the height of your hands. This is the crucial point that most people ignore. When the elbows stay below the hands, the biceps become much more involved in the movement. But when the elbows lead and exceed the height of the hands, the trapezius takes control of the movement. And that's exactly where you'll feel that intense contraction in the middle and upper part of the back. During execution, keep your chest up and shoulders back. Avoid throwing your body forward or using the momentum from your legs to help with the movement. The spine should remain in a neutral position, neither excessively arched nor curved forward. The movement should be fluid, but controlled. No sudden pulls or jerks. A common error that needs to be avoided at all costs is raising the shoulders before starting the pull. This transfers much of the tension to the upper trapezius when we want to focus on the middle. Keep the shoulders neutral and let them rise naturally as a consequence of the elbows moving upward. Another fundamental point: control the descent of the bar. Many people let the bar fall quickly, losing all tension in the muscle. Remember that the eccentric phase of the movement is as important as the positive phase. Count mentally to 2 while lowering the bar, maintaining total control of the movement. For this exercise, I recommend 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. The rest interval between sets can be a bit longer, about 90 to 120 seconds, since this is a movement that requires more energy and involves more muscle groups. As for the weight, be conservative at the beginning. It's better to perfectly master the technique with lighter weights than to compromise execution with excessive loads. A tip that makes all the difference: before starting the movement, imagine that there is a wire pulling your elbows upward and that your hands are just holding the bar, not actively pulling it. Exercise number 1, wide grip bent over row. This exercise is a true hidden gem when it comes to developing the lower trapezius, an area that very few people know how to train properly. Many don't even realize that the bent over row can be a powerful activator of the trapezius. If you've never seen this exercise being used specifically to work the trapezius, it's because very few people truly understand how it deeply activates the fibers of the middle and lower portion of this muscle. Most simply execute it as an exercise for the back in general, without exploring its specific potential for the trapezius. The lower trapezius is fundamental for keeping the scapula stable in all shoulder movements. When this muscle is weak, the scapula tends to project outward like a wing, creating not just a poor appearance, but also dramatically increasing the risk of shoulder injuries. Strengthening this region is essential both for aesthetics and for joint health. To execute the bent-over row focused on the lower trapezius, start with feet shoulder-width apart and hold a straight bar with hands in a grip much wider than shoulder width. This wide grip is crucial for directing tension to the lower trapezius. Slightly bend your knees and lean your trunk forward, keeping your back straight and not rounded, at an angle of approximately 30 to 45 degrees relative to the ground. Here's the fundamental part. Before starting the pulling movement, retract your scapulae, as if you were trying to join the lower tips of the scapulae in the center of your back. This pre-activation of the lower trapezius is essential to ensure that it is the protagonist of the movement. Now, keep your arms relatively extended with a slight flexion in the elbows, and pull the bar toward your abdomen, not your chest. The movement should be guided by the elbows moving away to the sides and backward, not upward toward the ceiling. At the end of the movement, you should feel a strong contraction in the middle and lower back, exactly where the lower trapezius inserts. A serious error to be avoided is using body momentum to lift the weight. This is not an exercise of swinging the bar. It's a precise and controlled movement where every inch counts. Another common misconception is pulling with the arms instead of using the back. Remember, your arms are just hooks. The back does the real work. The position of the head also makes a difference. Keep your neck in a neutral position, as a natural continuation of the spine. Don't look up or down. Look at a fixed point on the floor, about 3 to 6 feet in front of you. This helps maintain the correct alignment of the cervical spine and avoids unnecessary tension in the neck. For this exercise, I recommend 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. The rest interval between sets can be 60 to 90 seconds. As this is a movement that works a generally less developed muscle, start with moderate weights and focus on perfect execution. Over time, as your lower trapezius gets stronger, you can progressively increase the load. A valuable tip: don't hold your breath during the movement. Many people reflexively hold their breath during strength exercises, which can unnecessarily increase blood pressure and reduce the efficiency of the movement. Exhale while pulling the bar and inhale during the return phase. It's worth noting that the lower trapezius responds very well to time under tension work. Therefore, in addition to maintaining good form, try to execute the repetitions at a controlled pace, especially in the eccentric phase. Count to 2 or 3 while lowering the bar, thus maximizing the stimulus in this important area. Now, another golden tip about this exercise. After completing your repetitions, stay in the inclined position for 5 to 10 more seconds with the scapulae retracted. This final isometry is like a bonus that few know about, but that makes a huge difference in activating the lower trapezius. Now, another question you might have: how to apply this routine in the week of training? Ideally, train the trapezius twice a week, with at least 48 hours of interval between workouts. For example, you can train on Monday and Thursday. In each session, execute the 3 exercises in the order I presented. First, the shoulder shrug, then the upright row, and finally, the bent-over row. Start each workout with an adequate warm-up. Some circular movements with the shoulders and light stretches for the neck and upper back are sufficient to prepare the area for the intense work that will follow. Remember that progression is fundamental. Each week, try to slightly increase the weight or number of repetitions. This progressive stimulus is what will force your trapezius to grow and develop. And note well, progressing gradually doesn't mean sacrificing technique for weight. A well-executed movement with a moderate weight is infinitely more effective than an incorrect movement with excessive weight. Nutrition and rest are also essential components for muscle development. Make sure to consume enough protein to support muscle growth and to sleep adequately to allow complete recovery between workouts. In just 28 days following this program, you'll see a remarkable transformation in your trapezius, not just in terms of size, but also strength, definition, and functionality. Your back will appear wider, your neck more stable, and your posture will naturally improve. Now, one last warning. Even if you combine good nutrition, good sleep, and good training, there are still some other very common mistakes that people make that can unfortunately throw all your effort in the trash. If you want to know what they are, we've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one of them. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.